In today's story, we get the single best example on all 4 kids on what decisions to not make as a teenager. Baggy pants, grunge music, and piercings everywhere. Don't do drugs, kids. Except for weed. Get ready to pull on some strings, all my fellow and future outlaws, as this is Card Games vs. Humanity, and I am that NAK double G. Back with a recap of that show that seems to have a hard-on for jesters, mimes, or just generally anything that reminds you of a clown, Duel Monster. So if you enjoyed, don't forget that sub, that bell, that like, hit up the Patreon if you want to support me. Leave a comment telling me if you're just as curious as I am to where Merrick actually found this sad, strange little man. But ignore that for now, as we're joined by Joey and friends, who are currently celebrating the recent victory over that disgusting Weevil Underwood. But before we get a word in, Joey says the same thing to all of them that I said to myself after about 5 days on Tinder.
Yeah, why do I attract these freaks?
His friends give him general praise for the first time in months before, oh shit, we see some rare hunters lurking around the corner. I wonder what plans Merrick could have in store for them. Oh, by the way, speaking of Merrick, he's on a boat. He's on a boat. He's on a motherfucking boat headed towards Battle City. Can you guess what he's doing, though? And if you said anything other than monologuing about how he's gonna get the Pharaoh's power, then you were wrong. For some reason, there's a gross-ass mime standing on this bench surrounded by a bargain bin Super Saiyan and his girlfriend counterfeit Serenity. The girl tries to make a pass at him, but like most characters on this show, Yugi is his one true love and he flees the scene immediately. Yugi's chilling at the side of this random riverbank asking the Pharaoh, what the fuck, bro? You have all this power, why don't you just use it? I mean, I've already seen you kill like 3 people already. Unfortunately, just like a Gohan without an Android 16, the Pharaoh just doesn't know how to reach his power. It tells Yugi not to worry as he is courageous and strong, that he has the heart of the Pharaoh, which basically means, please don't die, kid, because I kind of need your body for a few more years. Yami then says the same thing we all said to ourselves on the day before Trump was allowed back on Twitter.
I sense a darkness approaching.
Strings, aka Tony Hawk's son, jumps 30 feet into the air and slides down this sick-ass ramp to reveal himself to Yugi. His name is Strings, and he's a puppet, and my name is Merrick, and I'm a puppet master, so I control him by pulling his strings. Do you get it? Yugi transforms right away and claims that Merrick will never break the heart of the cards. That power belongs to the people and the people alone.
You tell him! No way is he getting his hands on your power!
I just did.
That's right, you will never claim that power for yourself. Yeah, you tell him! What are you doing? Oh, look, it's Ishizu talking to her one and only true friend, the giant rock, explaining to it that her evil brother can be saved if his plans manage to fail. Pay no attention to the fact that I have no defining qualities in this show besides explaining the plot. After wandering around town looking for Yugi for about 5 days, Sakura finally gives up and is apparently chilling at the outside of this museum, sensing the power of the Millennium Necklace. Actually, because there's no security whatsoever, he waltzes right down into the basement only to discover the giant rock, also known as the Pharaoh's tablet, stones he claims he hasn't laid eyes upon in many years. Unfortunately, his ring is out of batteries and loses connection to her necklace despite the fact that she's literally just around the corner talking shit about him, claiming that he may know some of the ancient stories, but not all of them, because apparently the power of the Pharaoh is far greater than the power of the 7 Millennium items. They never really make that distinction clear, do they? The duel begins as the poor mind slave goes first, setting 1 card face down before summoning the humanoid slime. Yes, 800 attack, 2000 defense. I'm just... Really?
You will fail!
Honestly, I was gonna make fun of his drama, but if he keeps doing shit like that, I'm gonna have to agree. Yugi knows he wants to bait him into attacking, but he isn't falling for it, laying 1 back row of his own before bringing Gazelle out to the field and not attacking for some reason. And once you see the interactions that happen in the next few turns, you're gonna understand that there was no reason not to do so. That becoming more clear when Strings fuses together Worm Drake and Humanoid Slime to create Humanoid Worm Drake, a very fucking clever name that I guess actually explains the monster as they're combined together, so maybe I'm just a bitch and probably shouldn't complain. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, Yugi calls him an idiot because fusion monsters can't attack on the same turn they're summoned.
You can attack now!
Yes, Yugi, he can attack now. I get it. Thank you for yelling it at us. After about 5 minutes about talking about attacking and doing stuff, Merrick finally does stuff and starts attacking. Wait, never mind, Yugi activates diffusion, splitting up the monster into its component parts. Somehow Yugi knew he was luring him into a trap like this, which in and of itself would be fine, but you have to consider the fact that he knew he was gonna do a fusion summon and have quick attack ready instead of just a generic trap card to, you know, counter an attack. I refuse to believe he prepared for this.
I was hoping for a far more challenging duel from you, but you've only disappointed me.
It's been literally 1 fucking turn and he's already disappointed in Merrick for not preparing for like the biggest god read I've ever seen in my entire life. Disappointing. Back to Yugi's turn, he draws into Buster Blader, but claims it's too powerful to waste on his weaker monsters, as if this is just season 1 and he can just slap it down willy-nilly with no consequences. Instead, deciding to summon Beta the Magnet Warrior, destroying both Worm Drake and Humanoid Worm Slide on Strings' side of the field. He's not losing though, he's just testing his strengths and weaknesses, despite the fact this is kind of almost the 3rd time they've dueled already. Merrick then reads off the Wikipedia entry for Alex Jones.
It's a shapeless being made completely of plasma, with no solid mass, making it utterly indestructible.
Merrick brings Revival Gem to the field, Shield, a monster he claims that simply cannot be destroyed. Except for Fissure. Excuse me, ignore that while I activate Jam Breeding Machine, a card that can spawn slime tokens every single turn so I can ultimately summon my Sacred Beast. Just hearing the word breed is enough to scare Yugi, causing him to go into a frenzy and summon Buster Blader right away. Because apparently one turn later is the right moment to do so, despite the fact that both of his monsters could clear Revival Jam if he just attacked. Unfortunately, after the Buster Blader's mighty swing, Majin Buu reforms himself, bringing all his pieces back together with seemingly no damage. Every time this monster is destroyed, it just comes back with no cost, no worries, and apparently no reason to ever use Spirit Reaper. Already with a Pot of Greed and Slifer in his hand, because of course. It's back to String's turn as he summons the first slime token to the field before sending one back row that definitely wasn't in his hand a second ago. Yugi laughs and claims that this plan has one tragic flaw, that his slime tokens are open to a direct attack that would cause over 2,000 damage.
You'll lose over 2,000 life points because they're so feeble.
I love how Yugi will take any and all chances to make any and all things somehow feel beneath him in some way. For some reason, Yugi's feeling extra basic today and just attacks normally with Buster Blader, leaving him wide open to the Jam Defender's Trap card. Trap card that just shoves Majin Revival into the way of any attack from his opponent, essentially canceling it out. Again, this is kind of bullshit, but to be fair, Yugi is playing pretty basic right now. The episode ends with Merrick activating the Steel Cage magic card, which basically means that there's now no DQs and all attacks are gonna hurt a hell of a lot more. Well, that's it for this week's episode. I want to thank you all for watching, and of course, a shout out to all my patrons. If you'd all like to start a wrestling promotion with me called Nightmare Steel Cage, just know that once that bell rings, you are all my enemy. This has been the man for worth of all the growth, ladies and gentlemen. We're back in business, and I like it. Be the character you know you're worth, and I'll see you Monday. Yugi knows he wants to be. Yugi knows him. Jesus Christ, my brain just is going so fast. That becoming more clear when Merrick uses polymerization to fuse humanoid worm slime. After wandering around town for about. The episode ends with Merrick The episode ends with Strings activating the Nightmare Steel Cage.